combine topics to dive into, but G, you started with the offensive lineman at the combine, and I want to dive in on that first because I kind of have a differing opinion to what you said on the fact that you think tackle is out of play now for the Browns. Titus Howard has played right tackle. He's played right guard. There is only one guy, really two, but one guy at number 6 that is a traditional, unquestioned, undeniable left tackle. When you look at the top tackles on the board, Spencer Fano is a right tackle. Caleb Lomu from Utah, he has played left tackle, but is not projected to go anywhere near the top 10. Caden Proctor played left tackle, not necessarily a guy considered that high for the Browns. Maui Oga, right tackle, guard, you can make the decision. And then the guy you see next, Monroe Freeling from Georgia, has only played left tackle, is a traditional left tackle. If you look at his RAS score, and Steve, if you want to take tag for it full, he ranked out as the just flat out disgustingly good in terms of the RAS score, the relative athletic score. He's the 3rd highest out of 1,500 graded tackles they've ever had at the combine. Fits all the physical makeups, the height, the size, the weight, the arm length, et cetera, et cetera. I think it takes him out of the play for right tackle. I certainly think they're still in play for a left tackle. But, G, I'll let you start on this one again because you mentioned Maui Oga a second ago. He measured in at pure tackle size. Freeling measured in at gigantic tackle size. You think because of this trade they're more off the board than before, or do you still think they could be in play for the Browns as they look to continue to fill out the offensive line?
No, I think Freeling is definitely going to be a late first-round pick. I think he was borderline to me, but I think that when you look at Proctor, I think now that there's people that will likely have him above Proctor at tackle. When you take a look at what he was able to do, 6'7", long arms, ran tremendously well. He's one of the best pass blockers. The problem is he's not a great, he's not going to deliver a lot of movement up front. But when you look at Fano and when you look at this young man, there's a difference between you look at Fano, and the thing that gets me with him is he's slight of build in his lower body. Like they got him listed at about 310, but he just looks like he looks like when I'm watching him play, he's 285. Now he is aggressive when it comes to him coming off the football, but sometimes he's over aggressive a little bit, and there are times where he can get overextended a little bit. But the problem is with Fano as well, he doesn't get much movement. He's more of a position blocker where he's just going to look to get on the outside of you and just stay in this gap. He's not going to be a guy that you look to, hey, it's 4th and 1, let's run behind him and get 2 yards. That's not what's going to happen. He's more of a position blocker. So to me, in my opinion, it's not a great tackle class. But when you look at this guy, when you look at Freeling, I think he's moved himself in a position because he is a very good pass blocker, because he does do a really good job, and he plays in the SEC, and he's gone against some of the elite pass rushers. I do believe that he's moved himself into the late first round. And then the guard, I think there's a chance a guard does go. The guard from Penn State, what is Olavioga? What is his name? How you pronounce his name?
Maui Oga?
No. The kid, the Penn State guard, starts with an O.
Olu.
I'm
just calling him Olu.
Oh, okay, we go Olu, right? Y'all got to come out and give us these pronunciations earlier, bro. I don't know, this is crazy, but
I think there's one on the NFL website.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
NFL website has one for the draft prospect.
I think he's a guard. I think he's the best guard by far, and I actually think that he'll go in the first round. But McNuggets, if they do find a guy that they like, I like the Dunker kid from Iowa. He's not much of an athlete.
Did you see his 40?
Yeah, he was running. Did you see his hair?
Yeah, well, I saw somebody on social media put his 40 with Freebird and said these two were just meant to go together. Right. Because when you hear, and it was in slow motion, but when you hear Freebird with his hair flying and the look on his face, you're like, that's not wrong.
Hey, I like him a lot. He's a mauler. I like him at guard, but yeah, I think I don't know if I like anybody that high in the first part of this draft, but I think Freeling will definitely go first round.
I'm leery of the workout warriors, the guys.
We talked about that Friday, yeah.
And you guys remember Vernon Golston, right?
Yeah, we mentioned him. Yep.
He was a guy that everybody said, oh, He'll tear it up at the next level.
He was supposed to be Myles Garrett, right?
He was supposed to be.
Then,
he was like a top 5 pick. Oh my God! When you looked at him, it was
smuggling
like
pumpkins.
He's not a human being.
Yeah.
He came out of a laboratory. I think it was the 6th pick.
I covered him at Ohio State. That's what I was covering.
Yes,
I was Ohio State beat
and
writer.
I was very familiar with him from Ohio State as well. And then something happened, man. He literally might have invented the looks like Tarzan plays like Jane, because it didn't take him long. And there's been other guys like that. You guys probably won't remember, but Tony Mandrich is a guy. Mandrich was an absolute can't miss, humongous human being that when you watched him do all of his physical drills, you said, oh, this guy will be the gold standard for years in the NFL. And he didn't make it. And there are a lot of other examples like that.
There are a few that have panned out, though.
What's that?
There are a few that have looked like physical specimens who have panned out.
At that position, I think the hit rate is much higher at that position than maybe any other position.
At tackle?
Well, just because
busted tackles can play guard usually.
Yes, you can. Like if you're a bust,
you get something out of them.
Yes, there's somewhere you can move them and get some value out of them. And also, they usually have to raise to such a level of greatness, like Joe Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're not taking Joe Thomas in the top 3 unless you absolutely know.
Yeah,
and so I think the bust rate at that position, that high, is actually fairly low. It might be the lowest amongst all positions. And that's subjective too, because what's a bust?
What's a bust?
But to your point, and this is where I was going too, if you bust out at tackle, we can move you. Maybe you're a right tackle, maybe you're a guard, so there's flexibilities and there's layers that you can fall down and still have a long, productive, successful career. So I don't know what I'm looking for to the extent that you do when I look at tape. I watch these tapes. To me, you know what? We're seeing highlights. Mm-hmm. They all look great. Yeah. I don't want to see the highlights. Give me 20 random plays.
The low lights.
Give me 20 random plays, and maybe he'll look great, and maybe he won't. But to me, when I'm on YouTube and I'm searching for X players' highlights, I'm like, I'll draft that guy this second. Yeah. And I think that's what the Browns are doing too.
And you look at the next one and go, give me him too. And
yes.
Give me him too.
Because they're highlights.
Right.
So give me their random plays. Give me their, there are analytics, the grade rates and all of that. But be wary of the workout warriors and the guys that just make your eyes fall out of your head. But then the tape doesn't always follow through.
Jason, I'd be interested to talk to their scouting department in the front office to see what their philosophy is on offensive linemen. Do they have it do they believe that most of these guys, if you coach them up, they can be serviceable? Or do they really believe that there's only a couple of really top-notch tackles, and if you find one of them, you just take them? But other than that, because I watch these guys, there's tackles from Division II schools. You watch these great teams, and you turn the tape on or you watch the TV, and it's Monday Night Football, and they're like, where he come from? Oh, he went to Saginaw State. Right. The left tackle is starting. He went from Purdue. I'm like, what?
In the old days, you could get the Jackson States. You could get the Walter Paytons and Jerry Rices. But here's where I'm leery of that today. You could transfer. Why didn't you leave?
Yeah.
Like in the old days, you'd have to sit out a year. Guys weren't willing to do that. And so then, it was the same thing with Steve McNair. They're like, well, I don't know. What kind of competition does Alcorn State really face? I don't know. Joe Flacco experienced that. And so in the old days, I felt there was a calculus to drafting a guy that was one of the smaller divisions. Mm-hmm. Because look, a lot of times guys at 18 can come out and they're tweeners, and then they blossom and they grow and they dominate at North Dakota State because it was too difficult to transfer. But today, I'm looking at all of those really small schools and said, well, wait a minute, why were you still there?
Yeah.
You should have been offered millions if it was there. You should have been offered millions to go to a Power 5.
That's a fair.
And you didn't.
I think that's a fair point. I also think we're so early into this still of NIL that I think these colleges are still trying to figure out what do we need, what do we want, who do we get. So there's always going to be guys who fall through the cracks, always, no matter what. But we can take this. I don't want to get too far off track, but that's what makes recruiting so difficult now. There are no seats at the table for freshmen. You have to be special
really tough.
to get a shot at Ohio State as a freshman now.
Yep.
Because why would Ohio State take a freshman? Why would they burn a spot on a freshman when you can
go get a known commodity?
Go get a transfer.
Man,
Absolutely.
OU. I knew it was a problem. OU had like 20-something transfers, and a lot of these freshmen, I would look at them like, oh man. Usually you don't find them getting a bunch of the guys that's all state or guys that even be all American. Like, wow, this guy from this recruiting site says this dude is a top 10 guy in this position. Well, there's not enough places to go around at the table now. Everything is upperclassmen.
Yeah, it's really changed.
So Kazmarek from OU, he went to Ohio State, ran in the combine. He got invited to the combine. He went from OU to Ohio State. And I'm like, wow, like it's crazy that it happens like that. But we'll look at it like this: there's a safety from Toledo that's going to get taken high. There was this corner that was taken from Toledo a couple years ago, and obviously the poster child is Harold Fanning Jr.
Sure,
like shoot,
Harold, he could have left. He could have left after his junior year and gone anywhere.
He could have went, but he ended up staying. I'm glad he stayed because we found him. But yeah, I think now. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what that board looks like on offensive linemen because I think it's really jumbled together. I don't see anybody really separating themselves too much. So
to your earlier point, yeah, if you've got a special guy at the top, take it. But I think for the most part, a lot of these guys can be coached up to be average,
especially at that position, right? Like that position is a technical position. Yeah. It's a lot about the coaching that you've been given to this point. If they didn't feel they were getting great coaching at that position in college, and coaches do have egos, they're Father Flanagan's. Wow, I turned him into a player.
Yeah.
Some they can, some they can't.
I'm slowly, man. It was messed up. I hate to admit it. This is crazy. I would have talked about 17 people. They even called me watching these drafts, and I don't know if Jay Crawford is out here texting these people on an independent chain, but they sound a lot like him. They keep saying the pendulum is swung. Right now, defense is the hot thing.
Oh, no, it has.
Right now, defense, if you defense is back in vogue, you might not stop everybody down, but when you talk about the defensive line and how the athletes there, the safeties that are now playing more like corners, locking people up,
right.
The linebackers are running 4-4. Like the defense
some of the defensive guys' times over the weekend were unbelievable.
Did you guys see maybe it was in our group chat. Maybe that's where I saw it, so I guess then you would have. All the Ohio State receivers and then Sonny Styles, and Sonny was faster than all the receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Was that in our chat? Is that where I saw it?
I don't think so. I saw it somewhere else, and I didn't read everything.
Well,
Sonny Styles,
his brother, Lorenzo Styles, ran even faster than Sonny did.
He ran like a 4.32. Right.
Well, look, his dad was a great player at Ohio State.
I remember him.
He wasn't a great player in the NFL, but did win a Super Bowl.
Craig Powell
and Lorenzo Styles. I covered those guys back in the day. They were silver bullets. That was a hell of a defense. That had Sean Springs. That had Mike Vrabel.
Finkus.
That was a hell of Katzenmoyer.
What was that? 90?
96 maybe?
Katzenmoyer would have been after that.
Katzenmoyer, I think Katzenmoyer was a freshman when Vrabel was a senior. Don't quote me on that.
That sounds about right.
I just remember when I covered Andy Katzenmoyer in high school. I think he was Westerville South or North.
South.
And boys, I am not exaggerating. Man. This is going to sound like a gas. I covered a lot of high school football because I worked 5 years in Columbus, 5 years in Tampa, and we went big on high school football coverage. I have never seen a high school running back better than Andy Katzenmoyer. And it was funny to watch because he came through the line and he looked like an oak tree. Yeah. And he ran up and down, but he was kids were falling off of him like it was unbelievable.
That was the heyday. That was the heyday of high school football. Like in the 90s, that put me like 9 or 10, but these dudes is household names. They had him and Kajana Carter came through in Columbus.
Same time.
And I was like,
same time.
If you guys want to watch, go watch Andy Katzenmoyer.
As a high school kid.
His freshman year at Ohio State.
He could have played
neck roll.
He could have played in the NFL. I had guys tell me that were NFL players at the time. He'd be a Pro Bowl linebacker in the NFL right now.
Big Cat was so crazy. Like, this dude was running down. I remember who he hit.
Corby Jones. Corby Jones of Missouri. I was at the game. You know what? You know where my stand-up was after the game? In the divot that he left in the field. If you want to YouTube this, go YouTube it. Andy Katzenmoyer, Corby Jones, Missouri. He
I
hit
don't remember
him
this.
so hard he left a crater in the football field. It was like this deep. I stood on it for my stand-up at the end of the game. It was unbelievable.
He hit him on the hash and ended up on the sideline. I said he knocked him from the hash to the sideline. Bro, the
Missouri fans. Now, and Missouri had a good team that year, by the way. Corby Jones was a good player.
Then they had
but
defensive end.
The Missouri fans, it kind of went from, that, like when a home team gets dunked on?
Yeah.
You're like, I shouldn't be cheering that, but I cannot help but cheer that. That's what the mood was in the stadium after that hit, because it was just like, oh, no one had ever seen anything like it, so they're like, yeah, we got to applaud that.
Was that at Missouri? Was that on
It was
road?
at Missouri.
I remember they had the home and home with Missouri.
Yeah.
It was one of them
that
teams.
Was a great hit.
One of them teams you just didn't ever see on TV like that. Back then, you wasn't getting no other Midwest teams and that. Like, so when Ohio State, I remember they played a home and home. I think it was at the Bowl when they played Texas A&M, because they had Dat Nguyen, I think, playing for Texas A&M.
That was a bowl game, I think.
And was it Major? They had a nice little scat running back. That might have been a bowl game.
I think it was.
That might have been a bowl game.
I don't think they've ever been down there, and I don't remember them.
Yeah, it was a Sugar
here.
Bowl, matter of fact.
Yeah.
It was a Sugar Bowl. Yep.
Well, let's talk about an Ohio State player next. Excuse me,
Mike
guys.
wants to get
Cardell
back on
Tate's
track.
been somebody who has been in conversation for the 6th pick with Cleveland, as Jay shows off some highlights that unfortunately we cannot show here on UCSS. The 40 times for the receivers were as fast as they've ever been on average this year. The average 40-yard dash for a receiver was a 4.44. That's the fastest in the history of the Combine since they started tracking this in 2003. The fastest receiver times you can see on your screen there. Brennan Thompson, Mississippi State, ran a 4.26. Xavier Thomas from LSU ran a 4.28. Deion Burks from Oklahoma ran a 4.3. Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, a 4.31. Bryce Lance, the younger brother of Trey Lance, ran a 4.34. Then you see Cardell Tate did not rank anywhere near the top. He ran a official 4.53 40-yard dash. Jason, I know it's, as some people like to call it, the underwear Olympics, but that was a slower time than expected for Cardell Tate, and certainly not near the top of the receiver speed list. Does that take him out of play for the Browns at number 6, or should we just look at the tape and ignore a silly 40-yard
Yeah, it better not. It better not take him out of the conversation. Honestly, the play, I forget what game it was, when he had the alligator arms. That was a bigger concern for me than whatever.
I agree with you, yeah.
But he'll run again in Columbus. I'm sure he'll put up a better time than that.
And it'll be faster.
Yeah, but I mean, just for me, it's always the tape for me. And we talked about last week, Ohio State receivers are like FANG stocks. That's Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. Those guys rarely bust. So if you can get an Ohio State receiver at the top of the draft, chances are it's going to turn out well for you. So is it concerning? I wouldn't go so far as to say concerning.
Does their blind spot at that position factor into it at all? And I ask that because if you've taken a lot of wide receivers and they've done well, then you have a pretty high confidence level of pulling that off.
Yeah.
But because they've had such a blind spot in this regime at wide receivers, do you think that changes the calculus at all?
How would it change it? In
Well,
terms of what?
That there is a question on this. Like if he'd run a 4.4, then I don't think there's any concerns at all. But there's a red flag on the kid. And I'm just wondering if Andrew Berry has the onions to pull trig on this kid after there's already a concern.
So what if he goes to Columbus and runs a 4.4?
That's different.
Yeah.
And I think he will be faster. I just don't think he'll be that much faster.
Yeah.
What would he have to? What was he? 4.5?
4.53, and he ran it again and was exactly the same 4.53.
Yeah.
So
what's he have to run for you to feel comfortable with?
Low 4.4s.
Man, if he come out there and run a 4.47, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean that's 0.6.
It's
faster, but
I think
6/100ths. I'm sorry.
But this is the thing, you always get messed up. First of all, yes, I think it.
Don't get me wrong, I like him.
No,
I like him.
It is.
Don't know if I like him at 6.
It is. It is something to be said about the fact that the Browns, have not done a good job. If one of my main criticisms of Andrew Berry is I hate his receiving. I hate his receiver profile. I hate it.
It's awful. It's an F.
It's
an F minus.
I don't like the smallish receivers that really can't hold on to the football.
Right.
Like I just don't. That's not my MO. So
I mean, David Bell, Anthony Schwartz. There's others I'm missing. There's another one that I've.
what's the dude from Louisville? They just got him.
Thrash.
Jamari
Like
Thrash.
his hit rate is. Hey, Mike, just for a little exercise, I'm curious about this. Can you call up the top 5 wide receiver times from the combine in 22? And I only ask that as an exercise because I'm curious. Anecdotally, in my mind, it's not the burners that have great success in the NFL. Not to say that these guys aren't fast, they are. But I don't think any of them were the fastest. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well,
got you.
Go ahead.
What were they?
In 2022.
Yeah, I don't know what he got back.
I got the combine database up.
All right.
Tyquan Thornton
Okay.
ran a 4.28.
All right.
He's been a solid pro.
Okay.
I actually kind of like that was my guy for a free agent pickup for the Browns
Yeah.
or for a
Yeah,
trade
but
candidate.
I think it's safe to say he hasn't been a superstar.
No,
No.
he hasn't.
He hasn't been a star.
And for the record, he's better than the next 4.
All right.
Okay.
Valus Jones from Tennessee ran a
Nah.
4.31. Calvin Austin, the third. I believe he's on the Steelers now.
Only receiver I know
He
is
is.
Calvin is Johnson.
He is on the Steelers.
He ran a 4.32.
Nah.
Danny Gray from SMU
Don't know him.
ran a 4.33. I interviewed Danny Gray when he was at Blink College. Hope Danny's doing well.
Good.
And
Shout out, Danny.
Bo Melton from Rutgers ran
Okay,
a 4.34.
so in this little exercise, which I had no idea how it was going to turn out, I think you could pick any year. In this little exercise, I think what we can deduce from it, very small sample size, is that there are a lot of attributes that make great players. At wide receiver, there are a lot.
Yeah.
I think chief among them are hands and route running.
Yes.
And then I think it's speed. And so to your point, I've seen enough of Carnell Tate. I watched the tape. I watched every down of his career. This kid can play the position. So I hope that the slower 40 time doesn't dissuade the Browns, even though I bring up the fact that I think it is a red flag. But these guys, the fastest combine wide receivers, in my mind, I can't think that they automatically translate to great, successful wide receivers.
Yeah, no, that's fair, but at the same time, like what held Brian Rubisky back? I think it was his lack of speed.
Well, now listen.
And David Bell.
If you're a 4.7 guy, that's a different story. He wasn't. A 4.5, I think that's on the slower end of fast.
Yeah.
The
A
average this
4.7?
season was 4.4.
What's that?
The average at the combine this season was a 4.44 for receivers.
Yes. So he's a tenth of a second almost slower. So that's why I say he's on the slow end of fast.
Yeah.
I would rather be on the slow end of fast than the fast end of slow, which is where Rubisky was, and there have been other guys that came out 4.7.
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry was running like a 4.7.
Yeah, Jarvis was not fast.
But if you can
That's
run
why
routes,
you never know, man.
No,
it's
you
so
never.
hard.
Jerry Rice wasn't a burner.
It's so hard. It's not like you can say he's got this, and this. He's going to work.
Right.
Because you can line up 2 guys next to each other that have the same metrics. One guy can play and one can't.
Yeah, and there's no metric to measure this.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill was a guy who had success with great speed, but I think that if you line up the best, I don't remember what Jamar's 40 time was. He was fast, but I don't think he was probably in the top 5 of his class.
Oh,
Maybe-
no, he was. I
Was
got
he?
him all. I got him all up right here.
Okay,
yeah.
what are they?
Jamar Chase was the 3rd fastest
What was
receiver
his
that
40
year.
time?
4.34.
Ooh, that's quick, man.
Yeah.
Do you know who was the fastest that year?
That was a good year for wide receivers, wasn't
It
it?
was 2021, and I'll give you 10 seconds because it's Browns related.
Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the
that
thing about
work out?
Carnell Tate is, you talk about people and being fast. Well, he always seemed to be getting behind somebody. He was always behind. He was behind the defense against Michigan. He was behind the defense against Big Ten schools. No matter where it was, he got behind Texas. He makes big plays. He has great long speed. Now, the thing that I like about him is he's smooth, man. Yeah. Like this dude run every route on the field. He can run the bang 8. He can run the go route. He can run the slant. He goes over the middle. He can run the dig route. And the thing about him, there was, he had the thing with the catching in traffic against Miami. But you go back and watch him, not just this year, but go back and watch him last year. He makes pro type catches
No
where he's catching the ball here, he's tucking it away, and he's got his feet in bounds no matter where he is. His body control is awesome, and it looks like when he's running, he could be running any route, but he breaks it off and is very good. I mean, he's the quintessential I'm a pro.
Could you imagine if Smith was eligible to come out?
Oh, man.
The top of the draft, Ohio State would have guys littered in the first round.
Ryan
and
Day.
and they didn't get to the championship.
Ryan
game.
Day, bro, you tripping. How you, what?
It's insane.
How you lose that? How
Insane, the talent they had.
you had crazy talent. Now,
Reminds me of those John Cooper teams that couldn't beat Michigan.
now-
I mean, he had Eddie George, Terry Glenn,
David Boston,
David
Joey
Boston,
Callaway.
Corey Stringer,
Ricky, who was the tight end?
Orlando
Ricky Dudley.
Pace.
Ricky Dudley, Orlando Pace. That team,
Robert
he couldn't beat
Smith.
Michigan.
You just couldn't. Now, I think that I'll commend him for running the 40 because Jordan Tyson didn't run and Mekhi Lemon didn't run.
And now more dudes aren't going to run.
I know, unfortunately.
And I know Mekhi Lemon is slower than Tate. I know he gonna run. He
has
ran
his own
40.
draft question.
Right. hey, listen, let me just Mekhi Lemon. Hey, man.
He should have run.
Hey, let me tell you this, man. This dude is he's one of them.
He's different.
He's
different.
He's one of them dudes that if you go into a street fight, give me Mekhi Lemon. He can come with me. Like he looks like he is not playing at all. He looks like he's affiliated. He's plugged in on the street level. But I mean,
Is he an LA kid? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like he's born and raised LA?
Yeah. He's
He raised some red flags.
man,
for sure.
boy. He's a great football player.
He's from LA.
When I read a lot this weekend about some of the comments about him, I thought, well, there you go. Browns are going to take him number 6.
Hey, listen.
There's your Browns draft pick.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. The thing about Mekhi Lemon, he can play special teams. He doesn't play like that chip. He talks off the field. He's a very calm dude on the field. On the field, he catches the ball back to the huddle. He catches the rock back to the receiver. He can go over the middle. He's tough. He comes down with 50-50 balls. He can run every single route. He's one of them dudes that if you go and he gets drafted by the Rams or the 49ers, he's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, in the Ram system especially. Oh my! You're right. Both those systems.
He will be an absolute terror, and you're going to be like, why?
But
did we
you
pass
put him in
on
the wrong system, and he could be a nightmare for a different reason.
Now he could. Now look, I haven't. I will say this: if you come away with either
I think the Jets or Browns are definitely taking
Tyson, Tate, or Lemon, I'll be fine with it. Yeah. But
are we locked in wide receiver at 6?
No.
Or we're not even sure about that?
I don't think nothing. No,
I don't mean the Browns. I mean what you guys want.
No.
I haven't made my decision either.
I ain't really locked because
let's see what happens.
Got a long way to go.
Tell you.
We could plug. Yeah, we got a long way to go, and we could plug some holes before we get to the draft. We could make some more trades. You never know.
And people are slowly. I don't know if it's proper. Yeah, I was trying to talk me into this defensive player, but the more they keep doing around, you may say, oh, all right, well, if you take care of some of this other stuff, it's easier to.
There's plenty of ways to fill needs.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be at 6. But again, I've been pretty consistent. The only way you take a defensive player at 6 is if you think he's going to.
He better be
one
cold.
day.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's it.
He better be a Hall of
super
Famer.
cold.
The other thing from the combine we have to address is the quarterbacks. And the Browns are not in play for a quarterback at 6. At least we don't believe they are in play for a quarterback at number 6. But some of the guys projected to go in the later rounds of the NFL draft made a statement, made themselves some money based off, once again, the underwear Olympics. A guy like Taylor Green, for example, if you were unfamiliar with him beforehand, he certainly jumped up a ton of boards.
Yeah.
Weighed in at 6'6", 227, ran a 4.37 40-yard dash, set the combine vertical jump record for quarterbacks with a 43.5-inch vertical jump. He broad jumped 11 feet 2 inches. That was also a combine record. Threw the ball pretty well. G, when you looked at the quarterbacks on Saturday, I know they're hard to evaluate, throwing the receivers they haven't played with, yada, 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 yada. Did anyone open your eyes in he might be in play for the Browns with a late day 3 pick just to add into the quarterback competition, or did nobody kind of catch your eye in that sense?
No, well, I do think it's funny because you look at you take a look at what Todd Monken was talking about, and it's funny how many different people, because he was at Georgia and him recruiting people, how many of these guys like Cade Klubnik he knew, or Nussmeier he knew. Carson Beck is a guy.
He played against Taylor Green.
Right, Taylor Green. So these guys, I do think those guys will go. I think those guys will go a lot higher than what you may naturally think based on their tape, because they are names. They are household names that people have been scouting and looking at, and these guys were taking a look at them. And so you go back, and what the scouting department will do is say, all right, we've done our homework on these guys since they were sophomores and juniors, right? And some people are going to come in and say, their junior tape, you go look at their junior tape, it's spectacular. And then you get to the senior year and you're like, oh, there's some things that are a little off. But people are going to go back and reference that junior tape, and somebody will talk themselves and fall in love with the fact that, oh, okay, I like him a little bit. I think guys like Nussmeier, people say, oh, 5th or 6th. I think those guys will get pushed up a little bit. I think you could see him maybe go in the 3rd round. You could see now Aller, I thought he threw the ball. I thought he was a little inconsistent. I think his drop, because of his ankle, he still needs to work on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But just by the size, I think there's going to be some teams that'll take him.
That size is intoxicating.
It
was coming out of Menor or wherever he played. Medina. People were infatuated with that size.
Yeah. I think Ty Simpson, I think he's pushed himself like in the late, early 2nd, late 1st. Like if
doesn't Simpson have a connection to Monken too?
And
his dad and Monken
their fathers were.
I think teams like say for instance the Steelers. If you're the Steelers, and you Mike McCarthy, you're like, okay, I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, and you picking at the end of the draft like that, end of the 1st round. I mean, there's somebody that'll talk themselves into it. I thought he threw the ball pretty well at the combine, and he was a little taller than I thought he would be. And I think he's the clear 2nd quarterback at this point.
It feels that way.
At this point.
I think Ty Simpson's a 1st round pick. Because it's not going to be a 1 quarterback 1st round. So I think somebody's taking him in the 1st. Yeah, almost never.
Somebody gonna make the move. Somebody will do it, especially if you have a little, like I say Mike McCarthy. I mean, it's his 1st year. He got a little house money. You want to come in and try to figure out, see what you're gonna do. They took what's his name?
Quarterback, Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah, they took Howard. So, they got a couple.
And they
of young
really
dudes
never
there.
got a chance to look at him.
Right.
I mean, he was hurt, and then I don't think he played, but maybe a handful of snaps, if that. He wasn't even their backup because when Rodgers went down,
he just didn't. So, and it's a new coach. It's a fresh start. So who knows? We'll see what Mike McGee's the quarterback guy. We'll see what McCarthy likes. But I do think somebody will take Ty Simpson in the 1st round. Taylor Green, I think, is very intriguing. He reminds me of Jalen Milroe a little bit. The Seahawks took him last year. I think somebody may be able to take him and try to do something with. But some Klubnik and Nussmeier and those guys, they'll go higher than you think. I think these guys are going to go 4th round.
I think we have 2 1st-round picks, quarterbacks picked in the 1st round, and I think that's it, right? Does anybody think there could be 3?
No, I don't think.
It'll probably be 2.
Yeah, it feels like 2 to me.
2.
When did Shuck start climbing?
Pretty late.
Right around the combine. Senior Bowl.
I thought that was after the combine that he started climbing.
No, there was the interviews because McShay came on this week last year for us.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was like, hey, I had the big, long, hour-long conversation with Shook. He's going to start flying up draft boards, and then it started to ascend.
I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think Nussmeier and Drew Aller are both going to go way before the 5th round.
Day 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody going take one of those dudes because they're going to say, well, if we had a high grade on him his junior year, then evidently there's some stuff in there that we can move around and try to fix.
There was talk that Aller would be the number 1 overall pick this year.
Right.
There was talk that Aller would have been the pick at 2 last year, and he stayed in the draft.
Yes.
Aller and Nussmeier both were.
Nussmeier too.
Were both.
They had Klubnik going number 1. During the year they had Klubnik going to the Browns number 1, and how far we fall.
No kidding. In both cases.
It is crazy. All right, let's get to some non-combine